Today we've got the answer to a question that many of you have been asking. Is Heraclius viable in the open field? And if so, who should you pair with? So in this video, we'll share the conclusions of many rounds of testing to see which commander pairings would be most optimal and give you some general guidance about investing in commanders, because I think that Heraclius is okay, but not a good investment for the open field. Hello my friends and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming, and today's video is sponsored by the makers of Rise of Kingdoms. And many of you have been asking on my videos, Chisgule, where is the open field testing for Heraclius? And I'll be honest, it is something that I wanted to do, but wasn't really a priority because I didn't feel like he was going to be a good commander in the open field. So in this video, we'll do the following things. First of all, we're going to talk about what makes for a good commander in the open field and for a good commander investment. This part of the video is actually going to be probably the most important and the biggest learnings for your account overall, even if you were never thinking about Heraclius. Now, from there, I'll show you the test results, and we'll look at which pairs are the best, because I think he's okay, but not great in the open field. So you could use him, but I don't think that most people should even aspire to it. And then I'll have some conclusions at the very end. So first and foremost, what makes for a great open field commander and investment? And the first thing we need to talk about is march speed. Heraclius has no march speed. March speed makes it so you can chase down an enemy or run away from an enemy. Very critical. He's missing this. From there, big debuffs, especially ones that make the enemy take more damage, are really great. He doesn't have this on his active skill or really any of his skills. And the thing that you really want about debuffs is the more marches you bring, the more scale you get. Even reducing the enemy's attack, it's not amazing in terms of scaling up your effectiveness hitting somebody, but it does reduce the counterattack damage you take on all your marches, and it reduces the skill damage the enemy would deal by reducing their attack. But Heraclius doesn't even have any of these great debuffs. And Heraclius also doesn't have great buffs. Sure, on his third skill, he does boost skill damage by 20%. I mean, that's okay. It's not nothing. It does have implications for who you're going to pair with, but it's not enough to say, wow, what great buffs. Not like Joan Prime, not like Trajan, not like William. He's not a buffing commander, not even close. The final thing that makes for a great open field commander is area of effect damage. Lots of it. And he has only some of it. He's got 1,200 damage factor in AoE, and then the rest is shielding factor. So yes, people have keyed into the fact that area of effect damage in a big circle is great, just like Esong. But unlike Esong, not only does he boost the skill damage by less than Esong, only 20%, but he also is doing way less damage factor, 1,200 damage factor instead of 1,700 damage factor. The final thing we could get a look at for open field goodness is instant proc damage. And he does have revenge damage, but that's not the same. When he's being attacked, there's a chance he'll do damage factor back. That's fine. Instant proc revenge damage is good, but not as proactive as the sort of instant proc damage you have on like Alexander the Great or William or Harold that can trigger when you're targeting the enemy, not when they're targeting you. So Heraclius, overall, I think his kit just looked fine, and that's something I've been advertising for a while. And the thing that's very important when you think about an open field investment, and this is honestly the most important part of the video, is that when you put sculptures into a new commander, they should be one of the top, let's call it, 5 commanders in the game for open field at the time of your investment. Now, that's an overgeneralization, but why am I saying that? I'm saying that because you want your commander investment to last you a long time, many years. And if you're just investing for the open field, Heraclius ain't it. You should pick some other commander that we know is going to last for a while, like Nevsky, Joan Prime, Boudica Prime, Skippy Prime. These are commanders that are currently number 1 or number 2 for open field in their category of troop type, and you know they're going to last a while. And although Heraclius doesn't care about a troop type, and he is very versatile in that regard, he's not probably as good as Honda Tadakatsu, who is extremely versatile, also has area of effect damage, also has march speed, and also has a damage over time, which is really nice, and a march speed reduction on the enemy, so some good debuffs. So anyways, I don't think that Heraclius is a great investment, not only because it turns out he didn't perform particularly well, But because if you're going to be investing in a commander, they really need to be extremely good so that they'll last you a very, very long time. The last thing you want to do is invest in a commander who then becomes irrelevant very, very quickly. That would suck. So, with all that out of the way as to why I didn't think Heraclius would be good, let's go to the test results, which also show that Heraclius was not all that good. And by the way, if we're talking about garrisoning, that's a different story. He is a great garrison. Make no mistake about it. And if you're looking for videos about that, I'll have a card up top, right over here, and in the end screen with garrison test results. And if you're enjoying this video so far, do me a huge favor and throw a like on the video and consider subscribing. I've spent at least 5 hours in test matches with Heraclius, in part to bring you the information for this video. So if you could honor my effort with a like on the video, I would greatly appreciate it. And let's look at the results. How did we test? This happened in a live stream, and chat requested that for our punching bag, the march that I bring out every single time, that we use Nevsky and Joan. And I thought that was kind of aggressive, but the good news about using such a strong march is that if literally any Heraclius combo beats Nevsky Joan, then we know that Heraclius is sick in the open field. Okay? Then you would know for sure Heraclius is amazing. If it can beat Nevsky Joan, it's freaking meta, okay? Because Nevsky Joan is very hard to beat. Now, this was a no equipment test, and I don't like no equipment tests, but given that we wanted to try so many different combos of commanders, that's the way it had to be. And we're also not using armaments, and in some cases, War Daddy Chad didn't even have a formation equipped to some of these commanders just because it's been, there's really not been a reason to go equip a formation to some of them. Now, one thing I will call attention to is that you would say, oh, Chisgule, no formation at all. Not, that could really throw off the results. Actually, War Daddy Chad and I did a bunch of testing in a previous Mightiest Governor where we tested if you could even observe the effect that the formation buff was having. In other words, all we did was switch the formation and see if we could notice a difference. We would look at like no formation and then wedge formation and then arch formation and then hollow square. And all that to say, you couldn't even tell which formation was being used from the randomness of just what the commanders were doing. So it doesn't make that much of a difference. I get that it is important, but it doesn't make that much of a difference for the very few tests in here where we had no formation at all on Chadski's march, all right? So the first result here is Guan Heraclius. People were speculating this could be good. Guan is very punchy, Heraclius very tanky, didn't work overly well. 19,600 to 34,000, almost 35,000 sevs. Not a great outcome, but honestly, one of the better ones still for the combo, which is probably pretty telling. Here is Skippy Prime with Hera. That's 21.7 to 30.7. So still that 10k sev wound differential. And then we've got Sargon Hera. That's 23,400 to 33,800. So still we've got this like 10k differential in sev wounds. And then we did Joan Hera, 20k to 34k. Honestly, I feel like the very best combos were right over here. You're looking at them. The Sargon, the Skippy, and lastly, the Guan Yu. I feel like these three commander pairings would be fine if you use them in the open field. I get that they lost here, but very few things will actually beat Nevsky Joan. And their performance here was fine. It was good enough that I think it actually would work in the open field. Do I think it's great? No. Do I think it works? Yes. Let me just be really clear about that. From here, Nevsky with Hera, 22,700 to 30,600. This is actually one of the best results. So Nevsky Hera also works. I don't think it's amazing, but it will work. Nevsky Joan, once again, crushing. XY with Hera, 16,000 to 32,000. I was kind of hoping that the XY Hera would do better than this, but oh well. 17,000 to 34,000 against Saladin Hera, and 13,500 to 33,500 with Attila Hera. That, I mean, look, we were really reaching to try to find something, and we're going off the deep end from this point forward, chat. There are still some main combos like a Boudica we'll check, but there are some pretty niche combos we're going to look at here. 19,000 to 35,000 against Boudica Hera. I was hoping this combo would do better. It did not. Nevsky Joan, 17,000, I guess 16,500, to the 37,000, almost 38,000 for Nebu Hera. Nebu Hera, not a thing. Can confirm, not a thing. Herald with Hera was also not great. 17,500 to 34,000 is not a great outcome. 16,000 to 35,000 for the Trajan Hera. Not a great outcome, but keep in mind, compared to all the other combos that also had this like 19,000 sev wound differential, that this march with Trajan is actually going to buff your other marches. So keep that in mind when you compare to the other marches that had a 20k differential just about. Then we did Hera Honda. Now, I did not think this would be good, and it was not good. 16,000 to 37,000. We also tried Honda Hera, 17,500 to 37,500. I mean, I'm rounding, but whatever. It's still like really solidly not good. Okay, at best mediocre. 13,000 to 34,000 with the Charles Martel Hera. You know, I was hoping Charles Martel would do better here, and I'm sure we're in store for some good museum buffs very soon, but Martel with Hera isn't the thing. Even with the shield synergy and how shields are supposed to be stacking, this did not do well at all. It was really not good, so cannot recommend it. Alex Hera also has shield synergy, did not do well. 15,700 to 30,500. So we're looking at approximately a 15,000 sev wound differential here. Not great. Richard Hera was terrible. About a 20k sev wound differential here. You're looking at 18,600 to 39,000. So Richard not brought back to life by Hera, and there's not really synergy there. Pakal with Hera, you'd think there would be shielding synergy, but it's not good. This is actually shockingly bad. 15,000 to 38,000. So we're looking at another 20k differential here. Again, solidly bad. Constantine Hera, also terrible. I mean, I just wanted to see, right? There is synergy with shields and Constantine on his 4th skill, but this didn't work at all. It's like 14,000 to 40,500 is pretty brutal. That's a very, very bad outcome. Almost a 30k differential there. One of the worst. We ran another Sargon Hera and got another 10k differential. So Sargon Hera is one of the better combos. I would actually stamp this as viable. Not great, but definitely viable. We also did a Sargon Skippy just to compare, and that was almost even. In fact, the Sargon Skippy won. So we know that combo is good. And you improve your trade here by 10k to actually get a win when you use Skippy instead of Hera as the secondary. From there, Skippy Hera, we ran that again, solidly 10k differential. I mean, we got very consistent results, which is good, surprising, but good, given how few tests we ran with each pairing. 21,000 to 31,000, almost 32,000, is a fine trade. So I said that Skippy Hera can work. I think it can work. I think it's okay. Then you've got Skippy with Alex, just to compare and see. Skippy with Alex didn't do great. 17,700 to 28,000. You're looking at approximately a 10k differential. The difference here is that Alex actually brings value to your murder ball. Alex is bringing a shield to a neighbor and also doing a big damage taken debuff and also has instant proc damage, whereas Hera, yes, it will do AoE damage, but it's not bringing all the same utility, which I would say the Alex, even though the sev wound differential is about the same, I would say he is the superior secondary to bring. We also tested a Guan Skippy just to see, and that was nearly even, but a loss. 23,000 to 24,000 just about. So this is giving you perspective on what actual meta combos can do compared to Hera. Also, we ran an XY with William. That's not actually a great combo to duel. 18,500 to 27,500. And we ran the Guan Hera again. This did pretty poorly this time, so worse than the first time. About 20,000 to 30, let's just call it 35,000, 15,000 sev wound differential. It's not great. And from here, by the way, we've got a bunch of tests where my city got attacked in Ark. This is an actual Ark of Osiris match, but I'll show all of these. I got rallied, I got swarmed. I'm not using my best gear on Xeno, but this is a different topic for a separate video. Subscribe if you haven't already, if you want to see that video. So we've covered all of the open field combos, okay, chat? And my conclusions are that Guan Hera and Skippy Hera and also using Sargon Hera, I think are fine open field combos. Nevsky Hera also was one of the best. But again, I just want to remind you that you should be thinking not about, like what commander can I invest in right now that might be okay for my, murder ball, but like what is a commander that will have a long-lasting investment? And if you're investing in Heraclius only for the open field, I think you're going to be very disappointed. If you're investing in him for city defense and really more for garrisoning, that's the right use of Heraclius in terms of putting your sculpture somewhere. For garrisoning, I think he's good. I think he's great. And I've actually covered that in other videos. If you're looking for that information, I'll have a card in the end screen with a summary of the test results. And if you want to see the live stream where we did all this open field testing so you can have all the context from what that was, there'll be a card in the end screen in just a second. Thank you again, War Daddy Chad, for doing that testing with me.